I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving deep into the roots of humanity's ecological crisis with a powerful and provocative new work. The name of the book, Madness. It's written by acclaimed author, attorney, and environmental advocate Jim Mason, and in the book, he reveals how our disconnection from the natural world has shaped not only the planet, but our very humanity. Blending personal narrative with sweeping ecological insight, this book is a wake-up call for anyone who cares about our future and the future of all living beings. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Jim, good to see you here this morning on Spotlight.
Good, good morning to you, Logan. I appreciate your remarks. I think you say it maybe better than I do.
Well, I think you have quite an articulate and eloquent touch when it comes to prose, because your book is spot on in its analysis and its arguments and its theories and its prognosis. What inspired you to write it, and was there a defining moment that sparked this work?
Well, it was my farm childhood. I describe in a book an experience that was traumatic for me. I was 4 years old, and I accidentally walked out the door to the yard, and the men of the family and the neighbors were butchering hogs. Hmm. And it was so upsetting. I can hardly talk about it today, but I looked down on the ground and I saw a wash tub full of bloody pigs' heads, and their eyes were staring at me. And I didn't know what was happening at the time. I did black out. I lost consciousness. They had to take me to town. And many years later, probably decades later, my mom told me that I really went hysterical. And they had to get me away from there because my screaming was upsetting everybody. And another sad part of it is, after several days, I did not want to come home. I was afraid to come back to the farm. Yeah. So years later, my mom tells me about this incident, and it made me think I had an innocent reaction. Innocent, the word innocent breaks down, it means not knowing. I had not yet learned the adult worldview. I had not yet understood the farm perspective. So I was just innocent. And when I thought about, as an innocent child, I had that kind of reaction. That's empathy. Mm-hmm. There was some kind of affinity for those animals, some of whom I was probably playing with, days or weeks before, and now they're dismembered in front of me. So when I thought, all right, if an innocent human being has that kind of strong reaction, it must mean that we have some strong empathy in us, some relationship with animals that's hurt somehow, damaged, stifled by the ideas that farmers have to absorb in order to be able to do all this. They have to have some kind of defense mechanism so they can do these cruel, violent things. It makes them somewhat comfortable. So years later, I learned all of that. I became a farm boy. I became a farm adult. And I thought back on it. What if there's something bad has happened to us by having this set of ideas about animals and farm animals? So that that made me get busy and write this book, and it has a lot of research in it. It's not just my own personal experiences. I actually look into anthropology and history to trace the beginnings and the development of animal agriculture.
Wonderful. Well, we're sorry this book was born out of tragedy, which really is a tragedy when a child is exposed to what amounts to a slaughterhouse at such a young age. I think it would be disturbing to me even as an adult. I can't imagine a child witnessing it, but it did mold you. It did shape you as an individual, as an advocate for the environment. You worked with Peter Singer. How does Madness build upon your earlier advocacy for animals?
Well, I buried a lot of those childhood experiences. I finished high school. I went to college. I majored in biology. I wanted to go to medical school. So I knew a lot about biology and evolution and animals, biology and anatomy. So I was sort of prepared to go to medical school. And then I skipped out of that to go to law school. They say that a law school student is a pre-med who can't stand the sight of blood. So I guess
That fits you
I
well.
guess that,
That's
yeah,
good.
that was me. So, it stayed buried. I didn't dwell on it for years and years. And then I had occasion, I was living in the New York area and I became acquainted with people who were conscious of what we were doing to animals, mostly animal welfare people. I just developed and developed and became more conscious of what we're doing to animals. And I met Peter Singer because of my friendships in New York City. And he and I decided to write this book, Animal Factories, which came out in 1980. So we've had a kind of a writing companionship for years. We wrote another book, The Ethics of What We Eat by
Mm.
Rodale Press. So we've written a lot about animal agriculture and what it does to animals. But then I realized, yes, it's obvious that animal agriculture is hurting the planet. It's contributing to climate change.
Mm.
And it's also, obviously, it's very harmful to animals themselves because they get killed and dismembered for us to eat. So I thought, well, what does it do to us?
Mm.
Does it harm us some way? And then I recalled a childhood experience, and I recalled a lot of other things that indicate that we have empathy for animals, but it's stifled because of these agrarian values, I call them. The idea that we are masters of the living world and we can do anything we want. We have a God-given license to dominate the earth. And I thought about what is that doing to us emotionally? So that's when I began to look into my childhood experiences again and recall that terrible moment. And there were many others I
Yeah.
describe in the book. I had too many to put in the book. I picked out 5 or 6 where I had a traumatic reaction to some cruelty. One was an animal in a trap. I used to have to pull the baby calf off its mama so that we could sell the milk. All of these things
Yeah.
bothered me as a kid.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe this is happening to the whole human race.
Yeah.
But because of our need, or we think, or perceived need for meat, milk, and eggs, we stifle empathy. We stifle a real healthy feeling for our animal cousins and thereby the rest of the world as well. So it does contribute to climate change in that sense that we think we own the planet, we can do anything we want, we can destroy whatever. So that's why I say it is a contributor to the climate crisis, and we have to look into it
Yeah. Your
a little
book,
more painful.
yeah, I was going to say your book explores humanity's disconnection from nature. Why do you
Yeah.
think this disconnect happened?
Well, I think because we've invented beliefs, I call them distancing devices in the book, ways to separate ourselves from the world that we have feelings for or used to. Before we became farmers, we
Mm.
had a sense of affinity, a sense of kinship with the animals around us. Now, it's true that we did kill them and eat them, even as hunter-gatherers tens of thousands of years ago. But those people who did hunt and gather, they had rituals to
Mm.
prepare them for the killing. So they didn't do it mindlessly. They didn't do it calmly and without passion. They were traumatized by it too. So they had to have these rituals, these almost like religious ceremonies to be able to go out and hunt and kill. So we've done that throughout history. For a period in the early days of animal agriculture, we had animal sacrifice is
Mhm.
kind of an interesting ritual. We get some notion of it from the Greeks who practiced animal sacrifice. And it's noted in anthropology that the priest or the holy man that did the killing actually had to say a prayer before he sacrificed an animal, usually a lamb or a goat. And he would whisper in the animal's ear, I don't want to do this. The gods want me to do this. It's not I who is killing you, it's the gods. So isn't that interesting? That
Yeah.
distance releases us from the trauma of this killing. It makes it normal and somewhat comfortable. And we've
Yeah,
been doing it ever since. Now, what we do today is we just hide the killing. No one gets
right.
to see that. It's invisible.
Yeah, I was hiking in China and we stopped at a farm restaurant for dinner. And the man who ran the restaurant ran out into the yard, grabbed a chicken, and slit its throat while the thing was screaming and drained the blood
Yeah.
from its body in front of us. I was
Yes.
absolutely horrified. I'm telling you, you would turn into a plant-based advocate, a vegan or a
Yeah.
vegetarian very quickly after witnessing what that man did at that farm in China. So, different cultures do have different rules. What do you advocate? Do you think people should have a plant-based diet only, that we should respect animals more? I mean, certainly we're crazy about our dogs and our cats. Why
Yes.
doesn't that love transcend to other animals, right?
It's funny how we compartmentalize. Well, I don't
Yeah.
mean funny, comic. I mean, it's
Ironic.
peculiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and peculiar and strange that we have compartments. We have the pets that we love and sleep with. They're like family members over here. And at the same time, animals, other animals, pigs, chickens, cows, sheep, goats, lambs, whatever, are just as intelligent and sensitive as dogs and cats, but they're in a different compartment.
Mhm.
We have a way, the human mind is capable of many complicated transactions when it comes to
Yeah,
passion and emotion and empathy.
that's
So we
true.
can put things away from us so they don't hurt us. So the fact that you had that reaction and at that scene in China
Yeah.
tells you have an instinct to be compassionate, to have some empathy for another creature. And yet you've been indoctrinated, as I was before I became vegan,
Mhm.
to accept this as normal and it's okay. And as the Greek priest would say in the temple, the gods want us to do this.
Mhm. Yeah,
So that's what
exactly.
we've
And we're
been doing.
killing ourselves on this meat-based diet also. That's part of it. You're much healthier on a plant-based diet. I'm
Yes,
largely on a plant-based diet. I have a little
yes,
fish, so forth, here and there,
yes.
but I'm pushing more and more towards vegan as we go along. Just have about 2 minutes left, Jim. What do you hope
Yes.
readers take away from this book? What is your call to action?
I hope that people will see that we are willing and many of us enthusiastic participants in animal agriculture because we use the products, the meat, milk, and eggs.
Mhm.
So you can look into that. There's plenty of information online now about a vegan lifestyle, and it's more than a diet. It's not just the food, it's how you live and how you see the planet and our fellow creatures. So go vegan, look on vegan websites. There's lots of vegan information on social media. It's not hard. It's I can if I can do it in my 70s and 80s, anyone can.
Yeah, it's a great diet. My wife is a vegan, and we eat a lot of legumes, we eat a lot of beans, we eat a lot of grains, we eat a lot of fresh vegetables, oat milk
Yes.
instead of cow's milk. It's really easy to do. There is a replacement for everything if you want it. We don't even use the fake meat. We don't eat the Beyond Burger or any of that stuff. It's
Yeah.
too processed. We
Yes.
basically stick to just fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes and nuts. And we're thriving. We're doing good. And we
Well,
feel
it's a
great on
trend.
this diet.
It's a trend all over the world, really, Logan. I'm telling you, it's not just a bunch of kooks that live in Brooklyn or someplace. The vegan outlook, the vegan worldview is catching on everywhere.
Exactly.
And
And you're finding
big,
more and more vegan restaurants and vegetarian
exactly.
restaurants, which are great as well. Jim, you've done great work with this book. Folks at home, and the name of the book is Madness. It's written by acclaimed author, attorney, and environmental advocate Jim Mason. In the book, he reveals how our disconnection from the natural world has shaped not only the planet, but our very humanity. Blending personal narrative with sweeping ecological insight, this book is a wake-up call for anyone who cares about our future and the future of all living beings. Jim, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
And thank you, Logan. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.